A 40-ton bulldozer is shoving a pile of broken concrete and dirt across a construction site. The pile weighs more than the machine itself. The engine inside that bulldozer has roughly the same horsepower as a sports car you could buy at a dealership. So how is this even working? The answer isn't strength. It isn't power. It isn't even really about size. Bulldozers don't push hills aside because they're heavy and angry. They push hills aside because they cheat. And once you understand the cheat, every construction site you've ever driven past starts looking like a magic trick performed in slow motion. Here's the thing most people get wrong from the start. The common assumption is that a bulldozer works by being huge and powerful, that it just bullies the dirt out of the way through sheer brute force. That picture isn't just incomplete, it's almost entirely backward. A Caterpillar D11, one of the largest production bulldozers in the world, has about 850 horsepower. That sounds like a lot until you realize a Dodge Demon, a street-legal muscle car, makes over 1,000. The Demon hits 60 miles per hour in under 2 seconds. The D11 takes nearly a full minute to reach walking speed. That is not a flaw in the design. Bulldozers trade speed for force through something called gear reduction. Inside the transmission, an enormous chain of gears converts fast-spinning, low-torque engine output into ultra-slow, monstrous torque at the tracks. Imagine pedaling a bicycle in its lowest possible gear. You barely move forward, but you can climb a wall of a hill. A bulldozer is that bicycle scaled up to industrial. The engine spins thousands of times per minute. The tracks crawl. And in that trade, the machine multiplies its pushing force many times over. This trade-off is governed by a basic principle. Power equals force times speed. If you fix the power and slow the speed way down, the force has to climb to compensate. A bulldozer is the physical embodiment of that equation. It chooses to barely move so it can push almost anything. But torque alone does not move dirt. You can have all the rotational force in the world, and if your tracks just spin in place, you have accomplished nothing. Which brings us to the second piece of the cheat. The tracks. Those continuous loops of steel running along each side of the bulldozer are not just a clever way to drive over rough terrain. They are a load distribution system disguised as wheels. A standard car puts somewhere around 30 pounds per square inch of pressure on the ground through its tires. A 100-ton bulldozer, despite weighing the same as a small house, puts less pressure on the ground per square inch than a woman standing in high heels. Read that again. The heaviest construction machines on Earth are gentler on the soil beneath them than your aunt at a wedding. That is because the tracks spread the bulldozer's weight across thousands of square inches of contact. And along each track, shoe runs a raised ridge called a grouser. Those grousers bite into the dirt like cleats on a football boot, anchoring the machine into the ground itself. The bulldozer does not just sit on the soil, it locks into it. This is also why a bulldozer does not sink in mud the way a dump truck would. A dump truck concentrates its weight onto 4 contact patches the size of dinner plates. A bulldozer spreads it across what amounts to 2 long steel sidewalks. Ground that would swallow a wheeled vehicle simply holds a tracked one in place. Engineers call this low ground pressure. Operators just call it being able to work where nothing else can. Now the engine can finally do its job. Torque flows from the transmission into the drive sprockets. The tracks turn, the grousers grip. The whole machine creeps forward with terrifying inevitability. And waiting at the front is the part everyone actually recognizes, the blade. Most people picture the blade as a flat steel wall, just a giant scraper bolted to the front. It is not. Look closely at any modern dozer blade, and you will see a deep curl, a precise concave curve engineered to roll material upward and forward as the machine advances. The dirt does not just pile up against a wall. It flows up the curve and folds over itself. That curl reduces the force needed to move a load by a huge margin because the material is being lifted and rotated, not just shoved. Different jobs use different blades. A straight blade is short and aggressive, used for hard digging in tight spaces. A universal blade, often called a U-blade, has tall side wings that cup the load and prevent material from spilling out the sides during long pushes. A semi-U-blade splits the difference. The shape of the curl, the height of the wings, the angle of attack against the ground, all of it gets matched to the kind of dirt the operator is fighting that day. Behind that curved blade, 2 massive steel arms called push arms anchor it to the body of the bulldozer through a structure called the C-frame. Every ounce of the machine's weight, every bit of torque from the tracks, every pound of grip in the grousers, all of it gets funneled through those arms and into the blade. The whole bulldozer becomes one giant force delivery system, a 40-ton ram with a curved face. But here is the part that snaps focus. It is the part nobody outside the industry ever mentions. A bulldozer cannot push something heavier than itself by just leaning into it. Physics will not allow it. If the load refuses to move, the tracks will lose grip and slip before the load gives. The bulldozer wins only when the pile in front of it agrees to crumble, slide, or yield. Push hard enough on an immovable object, and the dozer's own tracks start spinning uselessly in the dirt. The machine literally digs itself into a hole. This is why operators do not attack massive piles head-on like a bull charging a wall. They walk the blade. They take a foot of material, then another foot, then another. They shave the pile down in layers, each pass size to whatever the tracks can handle without slipping. What looks like brute force from the highway is actually a careful negotiation. The dozer pushes only as much as the ground beneath it will let it push. It is less a fight and more a conversation between steel and soil. Skilled operators read the dirt the way a chef reads a knife. They feel through the controls when the tracks are about to lose grip. They adjust the blade tilt, the angle, the depth of cut, all in real time. A great operator on a difficult site can move twice as much material per hour as an average one in the same machine. The hardware is identical. The cheat is the same. The difference is the human reading the conversation between machine and earth. This whole system did not appear fully formed. It was hammered out over a century of trial and error. In the early 1920s, farmers in Iowa started strapping curved metal plates to the front of crawler tractors to push soil around their fields. The word bulldozer at the time meant a kind of forceful threat, and the machine inherited the name. Then the United States entered World War II, and the bulldozer became a strategic weapon. The Navy's construction battalions, the Seabees, used them to carve airstrips out of jungle islands across the Pacific in days. Coral reefs were flattened, runways were laid, all by tracked machines pushing earth. After the war came the interstate highway system in the 1950s. 40,000 miles of road needed beds graded and hills moved. Bulldozers scaled up, engines grew, blades widened. By the 1970s, the largest dozers weighed over 100 tons and could clear in an hour what 100 men with shovels could not clear in a week. The next leap came with hydraulics. Earlier dozers raised and lowered their blades using cables and winches, a system that was slow and easy to break. Hydraulic cylinders changed everything. Now an operator could lift, tilt, and angle the blade with precise pressure on a joystick. The blade became as responsive as a hand. That single shift from cable to hydraulic is what turned the bulldozer from a crude pushing tool into a precision earth-shaping instrument. You've been living downstream of bulldozers your entire life, and you probably never noticed. The foundation under your house was leveled by one. The highway you drove on this morning was graded by one before a single layer of asphalt was poured. The landfill that takes your weekly trash is reshaped daily by tracked dozers, pushing waste into compacted layers. The ski slope you took your kids to last winter was carved by tracked grooming machines, using the exact same principles: gear reduction, distributed weight, and a curved blade. The trench that holds the fiber optic cable delivering this very video to your phone was cut by a smaller cousin in the same family of machines. Every flat surface in your built environment that was not naturally flat was made flat by something with tracks and a curved blade. Suburbs, shopping centers, airports, stadiums, solar farms, the Panama Canal, mining operations in Nevada that pull copper out of the earth for the wiring in your walls. All of it shaped by the same trade: slow speed for crushing force, tall load to spread weight, flat steel working with curved geometry. Even the field where your kid plays soccer on Saturday morning started as uneven ground. A dozer made it level. The parking lot at the grocery store, the gentle slope of a freeway off-ramp, the perfectly graded shoulder beside a country road, all of it shaped by the same family of machines doing the same patient work, layer by layer, pass by pass. Of course, there is a cost to all this. Bulldozers are brutally inefficient at anything that is not pushing dirt. They burn through fuel at staggering rates, sometimes 30 to 40 gallons of diesel per hour under heavy load. They can barely move themselves down a public road because their steel tracks would shred asphalt within minutes. That is why you only ever see them riding on flatbed trucks between job sites. Every advantage they gain in force, they pay for in mobility, fuel, and noise. There is also the wear factor. Tracks, sprockets, idlers, and rollers all grind against each other under enormous load every minute the machine operates. A set of tracks on a heavy dozer might last only a few thousand hours before needing full replacement, and replacing them can cost as much as a luxury car. The cheat works, but it eats itself slowly while it does. New generations of hybrid and electric bulldozers are starting to appear. There are battery-powered models that can run a full shift on a charge. There are autonomous dozers that grade highway beds at night with no operator inside the cab, guided by GPS down to a fraction of an inch. The fundamental physics doesn't change. The cheat still works the same way. But the engine driving it is finally starting to evolve. So here's where you actually land after all of this. You came in thinking a bulldozer pushes 100 times its weight because it is strong. The truth is almost the opposite. It pushes huge loads because it is slow, because it is spread out, and because its blade rolls instead of shoves. It has been engineered, generation after generation, to negotiate with the ground beneath it instead of fighting it. A bulldozer is not a strong man. It is a chess player with steel tracks and 1,000 gallons of diesel. That sound of a dozer working in the distance, the low growl and the steady scrape, that is the sound of physics being outsmarted in real time. Every flat foundation, every graded road, every leveled lot you have ever walked across is a quiet monument to a machine that figured out how to win by going slowly. And if a 40-ton bulldozer pushing 100 tons of dirt feels like a magic trick, wait until you find out how a 400-ton mining truck, the kind with tires taller than your house, climbs out of an open pit mine while fully loaded. Different machine, different problem. Same family of cheats. If you want to see how that one works, hit subscribe. The next breakdown is already on the way.